Tonight, America is just reeling. A truly shocking act of political violence has just rocked the nation. Okay, so here's what we know. The news broke just hours ago. Charlie Kirk, one of the most prominent, one of the loudest conservative voices in America, has been assassinated. And get this, it happened on a college campus. It was supposed to be a totally routine event for him, a Turning Point USA stop at Utah Valley University. This single act of violence feels like it could be the thing that pushes an already divided America right over the edge. It's a terrifying thought. So, that's what we're going to do. We're going to break down who Charlie Kirk was and what this all means for the future of the country. All right, so let's start with the man himself. Who exactly was Charlie Kirk? Because for millions of people, he was a political icon. For millions of others, a really controversial figure. But look, to get what's happening right now, you have to understand him. First and foremost, the guy was a debater. That was his whole thing. I mean, he started Turning Point USA when he was just 18 years old with this one big mission: take conservative arguments straight onto liberal college campuses. He believed change came from argument, not from force. And yeah, he was a huge ally to Donald Trump, a really crucial one. His whole Get Out the Vote movement was seen as a key reason Arizona flipped in the 2024 election. That kind of influence, it gets you regular trips to the White House. But here's what's so fascinating about him. The guy was a community college dropout. He couldn't get into West Point, yet there he was, confidently debating at places like Oxford and Cambridge. It was this total underdog everyman vibe that was absolutely central to his brand. So for his followers, for people deep in the MAGA movement, he was an absolute legend. No question. He just had this uncanny ability to connect with young conservatives, building this massive following by taking his arguments right into what he saw as hostile territory. This was literally his catchphrase. He said it at every single rally. Think about that. He didn't just tolerate disagreement, he actively invited it. And that's the terrible, tragic irony here, isn't it? His entire public life was built on the idea of open debate, but it was violence that ended it. So in those first few hours after the shooting, the entire nation just held its breath. The reaction was fast, and for a hot second, it almost seemed like this awful thing might actually bring the country together. Right away, you had leaders like Republican Speaker Mike Johnson coming out, calling for an end to political violence, saying flat out, this is not who we are. And from the other side of the aisle, the exact same message. Former Vice President Kamala Harris posted, political violence has no place in America, and urged everyone to work together. And for that brief moment, there was unity. But underneath those official statements, you could just feel this deeper sense of horror and despair. Utah's Republican governor, Spencer Cox, I think he captured it perfectly with this devastating question. Is this really what America has become? Governor Cox was basically saying what so many people were feeling. The problem here runs way deeper than just political disagreement. According to the sources, it's about a fundamental hatred. Just Americans hating Americans. But that brief moment of unity, yeah, it didn't last. Not even close. Very, very quickly, the shock turned into the one thing modern politics does best, the blame game. And look, according to the sources, this toxic environment has been fueled from all sides. On one hand, you have the critique of Trump's style, that he bullies and attacks instead of actually debating. But then, the sources also point the finger across the aisle, describing Democrats as out of touch and pouring out their spite, just failing to connect with the rest of the country. Both sides are seen as contributing to this atmosphere of hate. And all of this brings the United States to this critical and, frankly, terrifying turning point. This is not just another tragedy in the news cycle. This feels different. The term the sources are using is a watershed moment. And what that really means is it's a point of no return. The direction the country takes next is going to define it for generations. The articles use this really powerful analogy. Think about it like a death in a family. You know how that can go one of two ways. Sometimes it brings everyone together, heals old wounds, reminds people what's really important. Or it can just ignite all the old rivalries and tear the family apart for good. That's the choice America is facing right now. And the choice, according to these sources, it really boils down to two distinct paths. The first one is unity, a chance to maybe forgive, to embrace the very debate that Kirk himself championed and find a way to live together. The second path is ruin, just a continued slide into more hatred, more blame, and ultimately more violence.
So, which path is it going to be? This isn't just a political question anymore. It feels existential.
This is a massive moment, and there are absolutely no easy answers. So what do you think comes next? Which path will America choose? Share your thoughtful responses down in the comments. And to help make sense of more of these critical events shaping our world, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.